What's going on, guys? So today in this video, I'm pretty much just going to be talking about Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. And I'm not really going to be talking like about their upcoming match, because obviously if you've been paying attention, pretty much we're going to get another match with Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, and it's going to be for the championship on the line again for the fourth time. And yeah, pretty much that's what we're getting in Berlin, Germany. And but that's not what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about something else, as you can tell by the title here. So, we're pretty much going to be talking about that. And because this has been on my mind, and like I haven't really made a video. Like I uploaded like 2 videos last week, like music related, just regular videos. But I didn't upload like any WWE videos. So that's my fault. But it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I just been like busy, but also lazy. So it's on me. But whatever, I'm gonna make this video. And so, yeah, pretty much that'll make up for it, hopefully, and we're pretty much just gonna, dive into this and, talk about why I think this feud is a little all over the place, because there's a lot of factors that play into what I'm gonna get into here. So subscribe to the channel, and pretty much, when it comes to Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, this whole feud is like, they're trying to portray, obviously, one way or another, that who's the face or who's the heel. But when you really think about it, there is no, like, in the sense of like just a straight up heel and a straight up face, there is none of that right here in this feud. And the reason why is because you have Drew McIntyre, right? Like, Drew McIntyre is supposed to be like a tweener, right? He's supposed to be an anti-hero. I know some people say otherwise. They like to say, oh no, he's actually just a baby face, or he's actually a full on heel, he's evil or whatever. But no, it's not true. Because like, he can, diss the crowd at times, but he also shows love to the crowd at times as well. And he also, most of the people, and like, I would say like literally every feud that he's been in, where he's being, like the CM Punk feud, for example, he's being portrayed as the heel. Like, let's be real here though. Like, he was not the heel in that feud. Everything that he said and did about Punk was justified and true. Like, this guy is all about, telling the truth and doing the right thing, and he does that most of the time. So he literally is a tweener. He's an anti-hero. And he, like I said, he still shows love to the fans. And, sometimes he might use like cheating tactics, like, against The Miz. 2 years ago, he used a turnbuckle to cheat against him. And like I said, he disses the crowd sometimes, but he's pretty much, that's why he's a tweener. He's an anti-hero. But Cody is also a tweener and anti-hero, because he's been, he has that like face side of him. Obviously, he still has that. He still loves the crowd, and he goes against other heels. Like, he was going against John Cena. He was going against, The Vision. But when you really think about it, he also has that heelish side to him as well, too. So Cody Rhodes is also a tweener, because like Cody Rhodes has been using that belt to cheat against Drew McIntyre twice. He's used that belt twice to cheat against him. Cody used it on that SmackDown the first time, remember? On SmackDown, when they announced that random ass match between both of them, and then at the end of that match, Cody Rhodes, he gets himself disqualified by hitting Drew in the face with the title. So that was a heel move right there. Then Cody hits Drew again with the title at Saturday Night's Main Event. He does some DDT onto Drew's head onto his title, and he cheats pretty much while the ref's not looking. So he did it again, cheating with the title again against Drew McIntyre. Then Cody, like, not this very recent SmackDown, but the week before that, Cody was talking to Nick Aldis, and he was like, "Oh, I'm above the law. I can do whatever I want." I don't, and I assaulted police officers, yes, but it's whatever. He was trying to justify it, and he was attacked. He attacked Drew McIntyre in his truck. He literally, and he also literally told Nick Aldis, like, you work for me, I don't work for you. So he was just being egotistical, entitled. He was being a prick. He was being rude. So, like, when it comes to this feud with him and Drew McIntyre, there is no straight up face or heel in this feud. They're both tweeners. They are. Like, obviously, Triple H is trying to portray Cody as the face and Drew as the heel. But, like, realistically, that's not what it is, though. What is being presented on screen, that's not even what it is. And that's why Triple H, he just sucks at writing, like, faces and heels. Like, because everything is just, like, most of the people in WWE right now they're like, they're tweeners, they're tweeners, they're anti-heroes. So, like, most of the wrestlers aren't, really faces or heels anymore. Everyone's just, like, kind of, like, in the middle, between good and bad. They're in that, like, they're, no one's, like, a straight up face or heel anymore, most of the wrestlers, at least. So it's like, but then at the same time, he'll try to portray that person as a full-on face or heel, and it's just like, but they're not actually being presented that way on screen, though. You're doing the complete opposite, so it's like, it just makes no sense. Triple H fucking sucks at writing faces and heels. It's the most simplest thing you could do, and he somehow fumbles that every single time. It just makes no sense, man. It makes no sense. And, like, overall, Cody is the heel in this feud. And I've said this multiple times because, like I said, he's been cheating against Drew McIntyre, using his title multiple times to cheat against Drew McIntyre. Then, like I said, he's being egotistical, he's being entitled. He attacked Drew McIntyre multiple times, like in his truck. Then he showed up to his house, and he literally, this whole feud started months ago because, Cody was the one that, after that tag match, after the tag match with John Cena, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre, the match was already over, and Cody Rhodes was the one that still kept attacking Drew. And he tried to put Drew through the table. So in self-defense, Drew McIntyre claymore kicked Cody through the table. Cody's the one that, he's the one that made this feud, like, personal. He's the one that made it not just about the title, but, like, he's the one that really, started going after Drew and, and making it personal. And so Cody Rhodes, he's really the one that started all this. He is literally the heel in this feud, And the way he's been treating Nick Aldis, he literally elbowed Nick Aldis as well at the end of the recent SmackDown last Friday. So yeah, he literally is the heel. He literally is. So that's why, plus he's a corporate sellout as well, and he's a fraud. So it's like, he literally is the heel. But overall, both Cody and Drew, they're literally presented as tweeners. And, like, it's obvious that, Triple H is trying to present, he tries to present Drew as an anti-hero, right? As a tweener. But in this feud, you can tell he's trying to portray, in this specific feud, he's trying to portray Drew as the heel and Cody as the face. But it doesn't make sense because, like I said, all these examples that I just gave prove that Cody is the heel. So then now we're stuck in a position where it's like everyone is just arguing about, who's right and who's wrong, because Triple H doesn't know how to write a face and a heel properly. Everyone's like, oh no, Drew is the face, or oh no, Cody's the face, oh, Drew's the heel, oh, Cody's the heel, Cody's a tweener, oh no, Drew's a tweener, Cody's a tweener and Drew's a heel. Everyone's just arguing about all of this because Triple H doesn't know how to write faces and heels anymore. That's why. That is that simple. No one would be arguing if Triple H knew how to simply write a face and a heel properly. It's that simple. So, but there is no, Like, because like at the end of the day, though, he may be trying to portray Cody as the face and Drew as the heel. At the end of the day, Cody is literally is the heel. But overall, both Cody and Drew are tweeners. It's that simple. They're both tweeners. Like I said, Drew sometimes he disses the crowd, and sometimes he'll cheat like he did against Miz when he used the turnbuckle, and whenever he was facing Seth Rollins, he literally said, Seth was like, "Oh, Drew, are you willing to cheat? Are you willing to lie? Are you willing to hurt people just to win this championship?" And Drew nodded his head yes. So it's like Drew definitely has that healer side to him. That's why he's a tweener. But so does Cody. Cody, like I said, he's the one that attacked Drew McIntyre after the tag match was over with Logan Paul, John Cena, Cody, and Drew McIntyre. The match was already over, and Cody is the one that attacked Drew McIntyre after the match was already done and over with. And he tried to put Drew through the table. So Cody's the one that started this feud to begin with, and because all Drew McIntyre was trying to do was just go after the title. That's it. And also, like I said, he showed up to his house and attacked them, and he's been using his belt to cheat multiple times. Like, look in this picture, he literally hit Drew in the face with the title and disqualified himself. Literally, he got himself disqualified. And then at Saturday Night's main event, he uses the belt to cheat again. And then against Nick Aldis, Cody is being entitled and egotistical, saying, "I can do whatever I want. I'm above the law. I'm QB1. You work for me, Nick Aldis." And then he elbows Nick Aldis in the face on last SmackDown. So yeah, Cody has a healer side to him too, and so does Drew. So they're both tweeners. They're both literally two tweeners going against each other. That's literally what this feud is. So there is no clear face or heel in this feud. But yeah, Triple H is trying to portray it as like, oh, Cody's the face, Drew is the heel. It just makes no sense. It literally makes no sense whatsoever. So, I don't know, man. It's just weird to me. And it's just like, I don't know. It really makes no sense whatsoever, It really doesn't. Because at the end of the day, it's like, like I said, Triple H, he doesn't know how to write faces and heels properly. Everyone's just like mostly a tweener. Most people are just a tweener. And that's why you have so many people arguing about, oh, who's a face, who's a heel, who's this, who's that. Oh, that person's a face. No, that person's actually the heel. Or no, that person's actually the face. Or, oh, no, that person's actually a tweener. Or no, that person's a heel. You have all these people arguing because Triple H just simply does not know how to write faces and heels. That's literally what it is. So now you got Cody and Drew feuding with each other as tweeners, as anti-heroes. No one's a full-on face or a full-on heel. So, it's like... So, at the end of the day, I just feel like... But I feel like I said, overall, based off everything else I had already said, Cody is the heel in this feud. He is. With this feud with Drew McIntyre, he is the heel. But overall, they're both just tweeners, So it's like, when you're a tweener, you can pretty much be the face or the heel in whatever feud you're in, Like Drew can, he can be the heel when trying to cheat against the Miz by using the turnbuckle. But then be the face against like Solo Sikoa and his bloodline, or the MFTs, whatever you want to call them. Or he could be the face when he's talking crap about, John Cena being a terrible person, because he sold his soul to The Rock. Like Drew can literally switch from face to heel, whatever with whatever feud he's in, because he's literally a tweener, you know. And it's the same thing with Cody Rhodes. You know, he can be the face against Division or against Judgment Day, but then he could be the heel against Drew McIntyre, you know, or against like Kevin Owens, who he also, you know, screwed over. You know, because literally Cody's the one that teamed with Roman Reigns, and you know, tried to act like you know, Kevin Owens is the one that backstabbed him, but it was the other way around, really. So, yeah, literally, Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre can literally switch from face to heel, depending on what feud they're in. So that's the cool thing about them. But it's like, it's just like, it's my only problem is just the fact that like, most of the wrestlers are like this though. Most of the wrestlers are just tweeners. They're anti-heroes, and it's like, and like some of those people aren't even, and like, and the reason I don't have an issue with that overall, it's just the fact that like some of these people though are presented as not really being tweeners, right? They're presented as just being one way, but they're actually not. You know, like Rhea Ripley, for example. Rhea Ripley, like yeah, you know, she's the face against like, her and Io are the faces against like the Kabuki Warriors, right? Against Asuka and Kairi Sane. But against Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley is the heel. And so, because she's the one that betrayed her and like injured her and all that stuff. And like, you know, and Rhea Ripley still has that egotistical, entitled, you know, like just rude side to her, you know. She's never fully changed. Oh, but at the same time though, it's like the reason I have an issue with her, like, kind of like being a tweener, is just the fact that she's not portrayed on TV as a tweener, because she's presented as a full-on babyface, but she's clearly not though. She's literally a tweener, because literally Rhea Ripley, like I said, she's never fully changed. She never apologized for what she did to Liv Morgan when she betrayed her and injured her. Instead, she treated her like she was the villain. And then Rhea Ripley, like I said, she's still egotistical. She's still entitled. She's never fully changed, you know. Like literally, she was whining and like inserted herself into that triple threat with Bianca and Io, and was literally bullying Io for no reason. But then all of a sudden they're friends again. It's like, I don't know, but you get my point though. And then even Damon Priest, like this guy was in the Judgment Day, bullying Finn, bullying Dominic, trying to be the leader, acting like you know he doesn't need the Judgment Day. Then he gets betrayed, and all of a sudden he wants to act like, oh, he's not, you know, he didn't do anything wrong, you know. It was all the Judgment Day who, you know, they betrayed him, you know, they're the ones that did him dirty. But nah, like you're the one that was acting egotistical, trying to be the leader, and trying to act like you're above everyone else in the group. So then they betray you, and all of a sudden it's their fault now, like. So yeah, it's like Damian Priest, he never apologized, for anything that he did to like Finn and everyone else in the group, like Dominic and all that. And then, you know, so like he's a tweener too, but it's like he's not presented that way. He's obviously being presented as a full on face now, but it's clearly not. He's clearly not, you know. So it's like that's pretty much my issues here. It's just the fact that like most of the wrestlers, I feel like Triple H, he's unintentionally writing most of them as tweeners. So he may be trying to present them one way or another, but you're clearly not doing a good enough job to present them just one way or another, because you're clearly writing them as both a face and a heel, unintentionally. So if that's what we're being shown on screen, then that's pretty much what they are. It doesn't matter what you're trying to what you think. It doesn't matter what you're trying to present them as on paper, in your head, Because if at the end of the day what we're seeing on screen is the opposite, then that's not what they are. Then it is what it is. Like you can't just like you can't expect us to be like, oh yeah, like for example, this is like just a made up example, but like let's just say like Sami Zayn and I don't know, freaking Gunther, right? Like let's say Sami Zayn is he's the one that's like constantly saving other faces from Gunther, right? Or other heels in general, right? And Sami Zayn, he's always the one coming to save the day, and he's the one that's showing love to the crowd. But yet Gunther, who's, you know, attacking Sami Zayn and other faces for no good reason or no reason at all, he's the one being presented as the face, and Sammy's being presented as the heel. Just for what? If he's the one that's doing the right thing and Gunther isn't. So you get my point, right? It's just like, it's like Triple H. He's trying to present people as one way or another, but sometimes he does the complete opposite, or sometimes he just does it as that character being both a face and a heel. So pretty much a tweener. So it's like Triple H, like I said, he just doesn't know how to write faces and heels. He doesn't. He does a fucking bad job at it, and yet we're supposed to expect this guy to write good characters in general? No, he can't. Because if he can't simply write a face and a heel properly, then what makes you think he's gonna write any characters properly either? That's why most of the people in WWE right now, they're just boring, they're bland, they're generic, and overall have nothing of substance to them. Because Triple H doesn't know how to write any characters. He's not a good writer. It's that simple. So, yeah, it's like everyone is just like, everyone's characters are just they're just not good, and and so yeah, if he can't, like I said, if he can't literally just simply present someone as just a face or a heel, if he struggles just doing that, what makes you think he's going to be able to write good characters that can be, just like super big in the company? What makes you think he's going to be able to do that? He can't. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But this whole feud with Cody and Drew is literally just two tweeners going against each other. That's what it is. Doesn't matter what he's trying to portray them to be as in his head, because the way he's writing them, the way he's writing them and presenting them on screen is the complete opposite. It doesn't fucking matter what he's trying to present them as what he thinks of them as in his head, because he's literally at the end of the day, he's doing the complete opposite. He's obviously trying to write Cody as the face and Drew as the heel, but at the end of the day, though, it's literally it's the complete opposite. Cody is the heel and Drew is the face, based off everything I just said. And overall, they're both just tweeners. They're both just anti-heroes. So it doesn't matter what Triple H is. It doesn't matter what he thinks of them in his head, because if he's writing them differently on paper and presenting them differently on screen, then what he's thinking in his head doesn't fucking matter. He can think that Cody's the heel in his head and Drew he can think Drew is the heel in his head and Cody's the face in his head. But if he's writing them unintentionally as just two tweeners going against each other and presenting them that way on screen, then what he thinks in his head doesn't fucking matter. It's that simple. I know people like to say, oh, but that's not the way they're, because I've seen people say that throughout the, for like a year now. I've just been seeing people say like, oh yeah, if this person's a face and that person's a heel because of, because Triple H, this is how he thinks of them. But like at the end of the day, like it doesn't, like people like to say, oh, but if Triple H thinks of, if like, because for example, like when it came to, like I said, the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan feud, people were like, oh, if Triple H, if he thinks that Rhea Ripley is the face and Liv Morgan is the heel, then it doesn't matter what we as fans think, because he's the one he's the writer, so whatever he thinks is how it's gonna be in WWE. No, that's not. No, it doesn't fucking matter what he thinks if he's portraying them the opposite unintentionally on screen. It is what it is. Like, you can't write as a hero as a villain, and then write the villain as a hero unintentionally, and then be like, oh yeah, this is what, this person's the hero and that person's the villain. If you're portraying them the complete opposite, even if it's unintentional, then it doesn't fucking matter what you think, even if you're the writer, because if you're presenting them the other way around, or as both unintentionally, then it doesn't fucking matter what you think, even if you're the writer. That's where you should do a fucking better job at writing faces and heels. It's that simple. It is what it is, bro. Like, all these fucking people, all these fans like to be like, oh, Triple H, he's trying to present this person as the face or the heel, so we gotta accept that. No, we don't gotta accept that, because if he's writing them the complete opposite unintentionally, or as both unintentionally, then it doesn't fucking matter what he thinks. It's that simple. It's not our fault that he's bad at writing faces and heels. It's that simple. So, it is what it is, bro. Like everyone, like literally most people in WWE right now, you can't even. Yeah, like, my bad, guys. I thought I heard something right now. But anyways, most people in WWE right now, you can't even look at them and say, oh my gosh, this is the face and this is the heel. Like, there's always some kind of debate about it, because like most people debate on WWE characters being on who's the face or who's the heel, because Triple H doesn't know how to write faces and heels properly. That's all it is. So, Triple H, he just sucks at his job, man. That's why, like, people argue about Roman Reigns, whether if he's a face or a heel, or Drew McIntyre, or all these people, because Triple H doesn't know how to write faces and heels properly. It's that simple.